Hello, my name is Christina. I love to salvage, repurpose, and create and help others to do the same. Today's project, I'm going to be using Salvage, I'm going to be using DIY paint, and I'm going to be using Saltwash, but the inspiration from this project might surprise you. I was inspired for this project to make a sign by my favorite t-shirt. This t-shirt from Suzy Swede Creative T'Shirts. She has the most amazing shirts, and she has an entire line of Junkin shirts. So if you like Junkin as much as I do, you need to check her out. I will put a link in the description below for her website so that you can order some shirts of your very own. And I love the whole idea of Santa having his own salvage truck. So today's project, I'm going to be making a sign inspired by my t-shirt, a North Pole salvage sign. But of course, I'm putting a turned leg spin on it. I figured the perfect piece for this sign was an old piece of salvage. This was a vintage ironing board that I had picked up. I decided I wanted an even chippier look on my sign, so today I'm going to be using Saltwash. It is a natural powder, and all you do is you mix it in with some paint, 50-50 mixture. So I'm going to be using White Swan. Now I'm going to try to add in a little Saltwash. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I usually mix up way too much of this stuff. It does come with a nice little scoop, which helps. If you are real precise, then maybe you need to get measuring on it. Now, as you mix this up, and I recommend just using something you can throw away. Put it in a plastic cup. Use a plastic spoon. You want it so it doesn't fall right off the spoon. That's how you know it's a good texture. It's kind of like cake batter, because that will give you the chippy goodness that you're looking for. Make sure you have no powder in here. So make sure it's really, really mixed well. Okay, now it's time to apply the Saltwash. And you're gonna use an icky paintbrush, one that you don't care about, because Saltwash, for me at least, it's really hard to wash out. What you wanna do is just kind of stipple and make peaks, because that's how you're gonna get the chippy goodness. So since I'm making this into a sign, I do not want the center part to be chippy, because I want a stencil there. So I am going to just get the outside. And the more peaks you can get, the more good chippiness you will have. Some people say that they put this on and then they knock down the peaks, but I don't think there's ever too much chippy. And so I'm just reaching in here and putting it on. And you can play around with it and find a consistency that you like. The more the better. The hardest part for me is making it kind of random, filling in the edges. The next step is to let it dry. Since Saltwash is so thick, it's a really good idea to give it lots of time to make sure it's completely dry. Saltwash is dry, so now it's time to paint. I'm using DIY paint and marquee and my DIY paint blending brush. If you have one of these great bottles, they're called FIFO bottles, you can literally squeeze the paint right on and then start painting. And I'm just going to apply a lot of paint. I'm not going to worry too much about brush strokes because of the Saltwash. I'm going to want a really chunky texture. I'm also probably only going to do one coat of this paint because I'm going to sand it back and hopefully get some of the wood underneath for my sign too. The paint has dried and now it's time to reveal all the texture. I grabbed my orbital sander with a 220 grit sandpaper and started sanding. Now it looks aged and weathered just like I wanted. For this project, I'm using my JRV capital letters stencil set. I highly recommend, if you like to make signs, to buy more than one. That way you can lay them all out like I did here with tape to make sure that everything will fit. I'm using painter's tape because when I pull it up, it's not going to damage my finish underneath. If you never really felt that you were very good at stenciling and you never had good luck, you have to try JRV stencils. These stencils are 5 times thicker, which means they hold up wash after wash, and there is like no bleed through underneath. The other key to being an expert stenciler is using this JRV stencil brush. It is amazing. The bristles are nice and soft and hold a ton of paint. One important key to stenciling is not to have hardly any paint on your brush. My first coat of stenciling, I'm using Old School from DIY Paint. I'm actually creating the shadow for my letters now. Technique does matter. You will see as I'm stenciling, I am swirling my stencil brush to get good coverage. To create letters with a shadow, you now carefully remove the stencil and you're going to slide it slightly right or left, just a hair, and then press it down firmly and paint over with a different color. For my color, I'm using White Swan. I did change my technique for this first layer because I wanted to not have to do too many coats, and I did a little bit more stippling or pouncing with my brush than swirling. To seal my project, I'm using DIY Big Top. It is an all-natural, water-based, non-yellowing sealer. I felt my sign needed a little something extra. How about a North Pole? I found this great piece of salvage, which was originally part of a bedpost that would be absolutely perfect. I painted it with DIY paint and a little bit of golden ticket. I then heavily distressed it and waxed it. To watch a video to get more information how to do this technique, check out my DIY salvaged ornament video. Inspiration for this whole project came from my favorite Christmas tea. She has a lot of great junkin' Christmas teas and a whole gone junking collection that you can wear every day of the year. Check her out in the description box below and see all of her wonderful t-shirts. If you would like to purchase any of the products that I was using to create the sign today, you can visit my website at shoptheturnedleg.com, or if you're local, you can visit my booth at Plaza Antiques and Collectibles Mall in Lincoln Park, Michigan. I attached the North Pole with a few screws through the back of the ironing board. My sign was complete. Now I just had to take it to my booth. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, click the like button and subscribe. It helps me to grow my channel to teach others how to salvage, repurpose, and create.